flat Valentine's Day for Ipswich Town in the end. 0-0 it's finished here at Bristol Rovers. Stu, a point isn't what Town needed tonight, is it? To be blunt, they needed 3, and for long spells of that, it didn't feel like it was in any way close to getting them at times.
I've been sitting here for the last few minutes thinking what I'm going to say on this video. As journalists, we're meant to stand here and be calm, considered, objective, raise above all the emotions of it, but we are emotionally invested as well. We follow them home and away and have done for quite some time, and I feel really, really flat after that tonight. It feels like deja vu. It feels like here we go again. It feels like no matter what changes at this club, there's always sort of false dawns and disappointments around the corner, and I know there's still a long way to go, and I know there's a lot more to like about this team, but I really felt like there was more substance to this group this year. And it's heading a certain way at the moment. It's 4 wins in 15 games now, and they got 15 left. Never mind looking up towards the top 2. I'm starting to look down towards 7th place now. That's the way things are going a little bit at the moment. Tonight was not good, was it? Tonight was not good.
No. Like we said to each other before the game, we talked about what's this night going to bring for Ipswich. We hoped it was going to bring 3 points. We hoped it was going to bring some goals and a bit of a backlash from a couple of draws in the league. And we said we'll know what this night's going to be after 10-15 minutes of the game. And first 5 minutes, we're sitting there thinking that here we go, bit between the teeth, front foot, driving at the defence, pulling them around, creating some openings. But the next 10 of that 15-minute block, it slipped back and back and back. And by the end of it, I think we'd probably come to the conclusion it was going to be one of those nights, and one of those nights that we have seen so many times before under previous managers. I'd say not necessarily under this manager. I do feel there's more substance to this Ipswich team. I think they're better prepared. They're a better side. They've got more character about them. But this did remind me of the period under Paul Lambert a little bit, where games drifted by. Even though those games under Paul Cook, where it went up to Rochdale and it just felt like that. I think in the cold light today, if we watch it back again, it'll be better than that. But it didn't feel like it in the stadium, and that's how we're feeling now. And 1,000 odd Ipswich Town fans away to our right are travelling home now. It doesn't feel great, does it?
No, it slightly worries me that Kieran McKenna and Shawnee Aluko, who you spoke to, are talking about them not being far away and just missing that finishing touch. And Kieran's talking about we had 15 shots inside the box and we had chances inside the first few minutes. We had chances right up and towards the end, but I never felt like they were banging on the door in this game. And this was, you have to fear that teams have worked them out now. This was the same story that we've seen several times this season, going right back to the Lincoln home game. Teams have worked out that you sit in a low block, and Bristol Rovers quite clearly sat deep. They sat narrow. They funneled Ipswich out wide. They knew the type of low cross that would come into the box, and they dealt with it pretty well, to be quite honest. And they had some threats on the counter-attack as well. It's the first time we've seen their talisman Aaron Collins this season. I can see why he's got the numbers that he's got. In the end, it took a pretty frantic goal line clearance from Luke Wolfenden to prevent this being a defeat, didn't it? Yeah,
like quite often in these videos we stand here, we go through the major incidents of the game, we talk through the phases of the game. It kind of feels like after that first 5 minutes, like one stodgy block of game to me. Obviously there's some slight deviance from that when the substitutes came on. Things opened up a little bit more, some shots from angle positions, not necessarily testing goalkeepers, but ultimately he came away feeling that Ipswich didn't force the issue. Bristol Rovers maybe did a little bit more, and maybe had that bit more steel about them, a bit more determination about them, which is really, really disappointing to see.
Just a bit more pace and tempo about them. They sat deep, but when they did attack, they attacked with purpose. They were direct, they were dynamic. They when they went up a gear, they really went up a gear, and there just seemed to be one pace about Ipswich Town. And we talk about that sort of lack of tempo and intensity when Ipswich feel pretty flat. It's almost like they're waiting for somebody else to do it. Someone else can produce the magic. It's that, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there was a lot of talk about confidence with Kieran McKenna afterwards. He kept talking about when you haven't won games regularly, a little bit of that confidence, that belief even on a subconscious level, maybe slips away a little bit. Felt the frustration in the away ends tonight when there was a triple substitution in the second half, I think around the 75th minute, and it was like-for-like changes. It was Hurst for Ladapo. I sensed some frustration from that away end. I've seen some footage of Sam Morsey kind of going over and speaking to some frustrated fans at the end of the game, which had shades of Toto Nsiala at Charlton, not quite that level of anger, but we've talked about these psychological scars running deep amongst this Ipswich Town fan base, not even just during 4 years in League One, but beyond that, and they're getting reopened at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I think you could almost feel that within the game itself tonight as well, that the belief, once they realised what kind of game it was going to be, because Kieran McKenna's talking at the end about how Joey Barton's kind of apologised to his team for not allowing them to have a game. Maybe once they realise that, it's kind of a bit of that belief goes. There's changes in the team there, like Broadhead, who had such a positive impact on the game at the weekend, isn't starting. Connor Chaplin, your leading scorer, is not starting the game. And the whole team just felt a little bit disjointed to me. Freddie Ladapo in attack, I thought he did some good things, but so isolated. And any time that he did, it wasn't going to connect. The three behind him, I don't think had their best nights at all. Young Cameron Humphreys had the best opportunities probably and made some good opportunities, but by the end he looked absolutely exhausted. And they've got no central midfield cover. There's no Luongo here tonight, no Lee Evans, asking an awful lot of him. Just disjointed, slow, and disappointing in the end. Anything else?
No. You're staying around the Bristol area. I'm about to drive home to Suffolk. Let's have a little bit more time to settle on this one. The recurring themes from Kieran McKenna is we can't even talk about the league table. We haven't earned the right to talk about that. I asked him, are you still looking up? Are you looking over your shoulder? Are you not thinking about the table at all? No, we're just thinking about the next game. We've just got to fight for our next win. And then we haven't got any right to be talking about winning runs and points totals and all that sort of thing. He was his usual calm, considered, measured self, but we can't keep talking about we've got to find the solutions to these puzzles. This sort of game shouldn't be a surprise to Ipswich Town now. We've had enough of these games from late October onwards. As the weeks go by, it feels like that 4-4 draw at Charlton and what happened at the end of that game there as maybe just was the first little crack in the mental armoury of Ipswich Town this season. Look, there's a lot to unpick. There's still quite a long way to go in this season, but look, right now there's no hiding away from it. It feels pretty flat and frustrating.